Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Athena's Listening Crew. My name's Renee,
And I'm Lena.
and today we are interviewing Lisa Swanson. She is the founder and owner of Body and Soul Coaching, a woman whose determination and belief in her vision helped her build a successful business while raising two children as a single mother. From her early days of leotards and fitness classes to owning a franchise and now leading an online coaching platform and community for women over 50, Lisa has been committed to helping women reach their goals since the beginning of fitness boom back when the gyms were dominated by muscle heads. With over 40 years of experience in weight loss and women's fitness, Lisa now champions a new perspective on health, one that meets women where they are today instead of comparing themselves to who they were 10, 15, or even 20 years ago.
So, on her 50th birthday, Lisa had a turning point. She realized women her age were being overlooked by the fitness industry. And as her own body changed, it became clear that even respected trainers lacked the knowledge to properly support women after menopause. And that realization led her to create Body and Soul Coaching, where she now works exclusively with women over 50. And through her three-pillar approach, which is aligned nutrition, progressive overload, and empowered thoughts, Lisa is on a mission to help postmenopausal women live vibrant, healthy, and empowered lives. And just to add that if for anyone out there, women business owners, or you know of somebody and would
Mhm.
like to come on Athena's Listening Crew and share your story, please reach
Right?
us out. And please email us at athenaslisteningcrew@gmail.com. And we would love to have you on. And or if you have any ideas about what you would like for us to cover, any kind of topics.
Or
So
if you know of like a trailblazer, give us the information because we're doing more and more trailblazers. Someone in your family, if your grandmother was a trailblazer, drop us an email and give us some information about her.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we hope you enjoy this episode with Lisa. And because, yes, she
She
did
did
that.
that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right. Welcome, Lisa. I'm so excited that you are here today.
I am so thrilled to be here today, Renee and Lena. I've known Renee for a little bit. I'm first meeting Lena now, but I love what you guys are doing and holding space for women and having their voice be heard. Is so hard for us to be heard. So this is going to be a great
Mhm.
conversation.
Yeah. And for those
Yeah.
listening, I've known Lisa. When did I meet you? 23? It's been several years.
2023 may even have been in 22.
20, end of 22 is when I
It was the
started the
end
whole
of
process at the
22.
end of
Yeah.
22. Yeah, so I have known Lisa for quite a bit and I've actually worked for her and that's how we met that Lisa was actually on one of my old podcasts. I found her. I was just Googling and I came across her and just reached out and she was gracious to come on to my podcast, my old one that I had. And it just went from there and the podcast just rolled and went so well. And then you just picked me up as a contractor. And so it was great working with you. So
Well, we
I,
just clicked.
yeah,
We just clicked. And it's
it
just like, well, I need to work with this woman. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I actually know a lot. So I'm hoping Lena will come in with more questions because I'm not going to be as inquisitive, I think. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I think we're just going to click and I think it's just going to roll like last time.
Of course it will.
Well, when I read, I did go on your website, Lisa, and I go right to about because I always want to know about the person. And the one thing, couple of things caught my attention was one, you started out as a single mom
Mhm.
when you went to, which I was a single mother of three. And so that I was like, wow. So, and then also how you pivoted um, into working with women when you said when you turned 50. And because I'm 50, I'll be 53 this year. And that's one of the things me and Renee also talk about is like where we're at our age and how we view fitness and what it should, you know, how I'm not really into going into the gym and I don't fit in that. I don't feel like I fit in that crowd. And can I
Right.
shift or do I have to force myself to be in at that? I'm not my 25-year-old. I'm not even my
Right.
35-year-old self anymore. So how you pivoted that into focus your attention and menopause. It's just such a dark going through that right now. Like how
Doesn't
how
need to
is
be
this still
dark.
like such a mystery? So anyways, those were the things that popped out to me when I read about you. So
Okay,
yeah,
well,
so
I can dive into that. It's so there's a lot to unfold in that. So first, it's like, how did you decide to, start your own business? So I was actually in an abusive relationship, mentally abusive relationship, marriage, and I knew I had to get him out and take care of my girls by myself. He ended up doing nothing. He was like lifetime restraining order. Not paying any child support or alimony or anything like that. So it's like, okay, I'm on my own. And, people say, well, go get a job and hire somebody to take care of your kids. And I said, but I had my kids so that I could raise my children, not so somebody else could raise them. So how do I do this? So I had already, prior to being married, had already been in the fitness industry. So I knew about being a fitness. Well, they didn't really have coaches. It was more trainers back then. Actually,
right.
trainers were even just starting. It was like you were a fitness instructor and you
Hmm.
taught group
Yeah.
classes and you walked the floor to make sure everybody was doing everything,
Aerobics, yeah.
right? And I did teach strength because I was very much into strength. I used to just walk around the floor and just helping correct people, make sure they're using equipment correctly, things like that. And I worked my way up into management. So I had good experience behind me. So I said, well, if I'm going to do this the way I want to do it on my terms, I need to own my own business. Now, there are a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. My father owned his own business, my uncle, my aunts, cousins, a lot of entrepreneurs. I think it's in our blood. And so that was the first thing that came to my mind. It's like, okay, well, certifications had just been started for personal training. So I immediately went out and took the test because I knew I had a lot of knowledge. I'm like, I can pass this test. I know I can. Went out, took the test, passed it, got certified through ACE, well-respected certification, got that certified. And I'm going, okay, now I've got to start finding clients. And how am I going to do that? And they have to know that my children come with me. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, impossible, right? But have faith, it happens. I end up running into a friend of mine whose brother had a weight loss clinic. He didn't have any exercise there. It was just weight loss. He was a registered dietitian. He said, I have some extra space in my office. You could actually set up a little room in there and do the workouts for the clients. I said, sure, I can do that. Right. So that started. That's where it started. And I told every
Mm.
single one, I only saw them during school hours. Right. Or if it was after that, my children will be with me.
Hmm.
And they were all fine with it. They all got along great. Luckily, my daughters, behaved very well. So that was the beginning of it, right? And then I sort of outgrew, and I think that's what actually gets us to our next level of what we want to do. We outgrow what we're doing, and we
Hmm.
start realizing
Yeah.
I need something else. I need something else. And and I left there and said, and I went to like a franchise. So I'm like, I need more business education. What a better way to do that than go into a franchise? So I went to a franchise, intent of only having one, outgrew that, had three, so I kept like outgrowing what I was doing. And I said, okay, well, and then in the interim, I got to put this in there. I did remarry, wonderful, still married to him now, completely
Mm.
different marriage. He adopted the girls. He's their father. It's, so that all worked out great. So then I go in and I'm doing, these businesses, but I'm overworking myself because you remember the years in the 90s and early 2000s, it was hustle, hustle, hustle. You
Yeah.
almost had to wear that as a badge of honor, right?
Yes.
I
Hmm.
don't take lunch breaks. I work 12, 14 hours a
You
day.
could
I'm great.
the martyrdom, yes.
Yes. And that was there. And I bought into all of that. And I was just crushing myself. So when we talk about, okay, I turned 50 and I had this revelation, it was 50 of a revelation of where's my intuition? Where's my soul? Where am I? Like, what is it I really want to do? I knew I was unhappy with what I was doing, but I needed something else. And I really had to stop and think deeply about what makes me feel expanded, what brings me joy. And that's
Mm.
what led to the decision of I need to let go of these franchises that are all about hustle, hustle, hustle. And I need to go do something that I can do on my terms where I can have some joy of, helping others to become fit or I love the word empowered, helping other women to be empowered, because that's what it really comes down to. Yes, weight loss is great. Eating healthy is wonderful for you. We want these things, but as you're on that journey, you discover so many more things about yourself that it really empowers you to walk out into the world and be more confident, to be stronger, to have a voice. Because let's face it, women don't have a very loud voice. It's getting louder all the time, but they find their voice and they can speak even more. So I think and then I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll land on my own 2 feet. I know I'll do okay. I do have trust in the universe. And if I'm on the right path, I think things will fall into place. So do they fall into place like that? No, that's not life. It was going, what did I do? I don't know what I'm doing in this space, right? I don't know how to advertise here, or you hook up with some big marketing company. So, oh yeah, just put all these Facebook ads out there and people are going to come running. And we all know it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. No.
No, not at all. And it's like, so I'm wasting money here, I'm wasting money there. And it's like, okay, rethink. Let's shift again. Let me start seeing people locally. I'll go to their houses, I'll have them here. And let me just get that going while I'm trying to figure all this other stuff out in the background. And it took a while, but I did figure it out. Was that too long of an answer for you?
No, that was
No,
an
no.
amazing answer. That was, and I had questions, and now I'm like, okay, I just blanked out on the questions because I was like, oh, I have to think about the question. Where was I going with that? I did have a question. Lena, jump in while I'm
But
thinking.
I love you said empower. And that's because that's where I'm resonating a lot with you because that's where I'm at is like that finding that voice, trusting the universe, walking kind of like in blind faith of like, okay, I want to do this, but I don't know exactly what it looks like. But I really am wanting to, because it's just like having been living in a box, and then I don't fit in this box anymore. Like my light it needs breathing space. So it's just been contained for so long. And then I'm just like, it's like piercing here, piercing there. And it really is. I moved down to Tucson a year ago, and it was a surprise move. And so it was just like, okay, starting from zero, starting from scratch. So when you say empower and just like, just trusting and then starting here and starting local and finding this and finding that. And it's just, and where you were like, well, where am I at? Like, what do I want? I mean, what brings me joy and what is it? And it's pivoting. I do understand the whole, because that was my life in the military. It's like you grind yourself to the ground while you are trying to do your mothering thing, while you got your kids, while you have a household, while you have this. And another thing that resonated with me was now it seems like you're in the sandwich era of having to take care of aging parents and your children are grown. And now that's added another added layer to your life while you were doing all these things. So how do you keep it all balanced, I guess?
I don't believe we do. I
Okay.
don't believe there's not a constant
Thank
balance,
you for
but
being honest. Yes.
that's not life, right? There
True.
are times when work has to take precedence because something's maybe I'm in the middle of changing something, which I am so well known for deciding to go another route, right? Renee knows. I know we'll do it this way. So it's like when you're pivoting there and it needs some extra love. So work does come up for a little bit and other things kind of fall, but then you need to come back around and say, oh yeah, I need to spend some more time over here because either they need more attention, I need more attention, but something, and the work is at a place where it can take care of itself right now, and that's good. Let me walk away. But I think one thing that you said earlier is like, oh, how am I going to do this? What does that even look like? I think the first thing I would have to respond to in that is you don't need to know what it's going to look like. Don't get hung up on having to know, oh, this is exactly what it's going to look like. Have your dreams, yes, but it may manifest differently than how you imagine it to,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Part of that walk I had when I was 50, I remember thinking, well, who am I, right? Because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I own these businesses, and I was sort of losing who I was. I was losing my spirituality. And so as I'm walking, I just, the way I try to get things out, I just keep an ongoing monologue, and I know it will eventually come out. And I just keep on talking. It's like, okay, well, I'm a woman. I am a woman. Okay, I'm going to forget I'm not married. I don't have children. I don't have anything. Take all my thing away, my business away, because I can even relate to, oh, I'm very successful because my business has X amount of money. And then you have a bad month. I have failed because I don't have money. So you get all these connections to who you are based on the things around you. And as I started, I'm stripping these things away and just, okay, who am I? I was like, well, I'm a good person. I care about people. I have a good heart. I'm a spiritual being. I know, and all these things that come. I said, I'm me. I'm just me, and that's okay, no matter what happens. And that was the beginning of really finding my grounding. I'm just saying, I am just me, and that's okay. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or feels or whatever. I am me, and I'm just going to show up as me. And I'll tell you, this was the most profound moment for me, because at the moment I thought that and just said, oh my gosh, I'm just me, a hawk flew past me. And a hawk is a very spiritual symbol. And I
Yes.
went, all right, I hear you. I get it. I get it. You wanted me to make note of that moment, and I'm to remember that. And then in just opening yourself up to your intuition to know the next step. What are my guys trying to tell me? What is the next step? Like, I just last year, I was feeling a little stifled in some things. I'm not going to go into detail about the business or anything, but I felt stifled with some things. And I'm like, I feel like I need something. I need something different. And I sat down with my daughter, because she's my content manager, and more, and strategist, so we're sitting there talking. And at the very same moment, we both went, we need a community. And I said, okay, that's it. That's my intuition, my guides, my higher self, whatever, are saying, listen, you're both coming up at this at the same time. You need to develop a community. So I do have my coaching program, but I'm also building up this community, which is a much lower entry, financial entry for somebody, but it's like a safe space, kind of like what you guys are doing here in your podcast, a safe space for women to come, to be heard, what's going on, and I can help to support them through this journey. And but just looking for little clues like that, if we open up our ears and look for patterns, like you see something that keeps coming up and keeps coming up, it's like, okay, you're being called to go do that. And if you don't know why, that's okay. Just go do it and see what happens, because the next step will be revealed. Don't look for what's the answer, what's the end result.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I know when that pattern started on that one, because as soon as you said that, I was like, that sounds familiar. And I think we started talking about that before I left. Like, it was just kind of little bits and pieces here and
Flitting
that
out
you're
there.
like little
Yeah.
They're
ideas.
messages. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mess. Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
go back about you pivoting, you said something about always having you like pivoting and shifting. When I reached out to you to do this, your response, I actually laughed, because your response is like, this is great, but I'm in the middle of something. Let me get back to you. And to me, that was Lisa. You're always launching. You're always thinking the next move. Like, you're present with your company, but you're also like, what else I can do to help these ladies? Like, you're always here and there, and you're notoriously ADHD. And so as I,
Oh,
I, I I brought this up to Lena before, and Lena, I think you made a comment about, I think most business owners tend to be, because we've got so much going on. So that is also kind of my question for you, Lisa, is like, how do you manage everything with keeping your attention on one thing, with not having, like, not jumping from here to here and focusing
yeah.
on one?
For years, I had no idea I was ADHD. I was never diagnosed with it. I had a daughter who's diagnosed with it. And one time I said to my husband, I think I might be ADHD. He just looked at me and said, do you think? Oh, is it that apparent? And he's like, yes, very much apparent. I have learned different tools
Hmm.
that I need to have, using things like the Pomodoro method. I don't know if you guys ever use the Pomodoro method, where you
What
set a
is that?
timer. So you can actually go online for, I think it's tomatotimer.com. It will do it for you. It's just a blank screen. You say, okay, 25 minutes I'm working on this task. That's it. Nothing else, right? So you get 25 minutes, a bell goes off, you got to go take a break. You have, do you want a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? Take a 5-minute break, you come back, okay, what am I doing for the next 25 minutes? It's an awesome way to deal with ADHD. It keeps you focused because like, well, I can do anything for 25 minutes. That's a piece of cake. But when you sit down and look at a huge list of what you have to do and you just sit there staring at it, like, which one do I start with? And my husband would go, just start with the most important. Like, they're all important. Like, I don't know which one to begin with, which sounds ridiculous, but that's where our brain
It's
goes, right?
true. It's true.
Much coming in. So I do that. And then I also recently, in the last month, 2 months, I started putting headphones on because I can hear everything going on in my house. I can hear everything going on. So I'm constantly doing this. What's going on? What did they say? What's the dog doing? And I listen to focus music. And I'm testing out different ones to see what works well for me, like 486 hertz or 520 hertz or whatever they are. I'm listening to different ones, and it just like really can get me into the zone and help me to stay on task when I'm working for those big projects. Doing things like time blocking is huge for saving time. Like, it's not checking your emails. Oh, an email came in, let me check it. Another one came in, let me check it. It's like, no, you check those first thing in the morning, early afternoon, and end of the day, period. Don't look at it again. Otherwise, it's going to suck up all my time. So I think just everybody has to find the tools that work for them and give them time to work. Don't try it one day and say that doesn't work. It's like, everything takes practice.
It's
So
a practice, yeah.
Yeah, give yourself some grace and stick with something for a few weeks, and it really just starts calming your mind, which lowers that cortisol, which brings everything back down here instead of up here running around in your head all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
definitely.
two kids with ADHD, and my son, but he's in emergency management, which he thrives in. Like, so it's like, and that's what I'm fascinated with is, and I have a daughter who can read like two books at the same time because that's just the way her brain operates.
Yeah, I have a daughter like
So
that.
it's, yeah, I'm actually even, there's so many talents that I see with people who have that and who are also, neurodivergent. And when I see my children, once something clicks with them, boy, they take off with it. So
Yeah.
it's very, those are really good tools that you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that music
Yeah.
because I caught myself like I'm self-diagnosed ADD, and girls
Yeah.
tend to be grossly underdiagnosed with
Hmm.
ADD and
Right.
ADHD. And what I've been noticing is like okay, I need to focus, and I'll start something, and all of a sudden I'll shift onto something completely different without finishing this task, and it will just be like 5, 10 minutes in, and all of a sudden I'll go down another rabbit hole, and I've got to really be conscious about bringing myself back in to finish this task, or like because then I'm all over the place and then I don't even know where I started again. So I'm gonna have to look that
Yeah.
music up.
Yeah, look up that. And another thing that helped me was a software called Sunsama. I don't know if you ever heard of it before.
Mm-mm.
I think I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. So Sunsama it's a little bit more than a to-do list. So you can put in what you're going to do for the day, and it will ask you, okay, what time do you want to start working? It's like, well, I'm gonna start at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna end at 6 o'clock. And I have to stop for like put in my blocks for my strength training. I gotta go walk the dog, put those in there. And you start putting your things in there, and they'll say, you get too much on your list. You can't fit all this in
Oh.
here. It's not going to work. What do you want to move over to tomorrow? And it has the same idea as a Pomodoro, because when you go to start a task, like say I'm about to do with client check-ins, Renee knows what I'm talking about there. I pull up client check-ins and I hit start. So I know how long it's timing me, and it will ding after a little bit saying, you've been doing this a long time. Do you need a break?
Hmm.
So it's really cool to do things
Wow.
like that, right? And then if there's things you want to get to, but you don't want to go down the rabbit hole, because I'm like you, Lena, I'll find something, go like, oh, that's a really cool idea. Maybe I want to check that out. Maybe I'll check it out right now, in the middle of this project. And then you go check it out, and then you start working on it, and it's like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this because new is exciting. And
Hmm.
now you just wasted 30 minutes on this thing that you didn't really even have to be looking at, right? It's like, no,
Hmm.
bring yourself back to what you're supposed to be doing. So it's like, instead of doing that, you say, oh, I really need to look into that. They have a backlog on Sunsam where you can just put it in, something I want to do in the next 2 weeks, in the next month, the next quarter, sometime this year. and you just throw it into there so that you can always go back and look at, say, what do I need to pull from my list? It's a really neat software.
It
And
sounds like a really good
I don't have
organizational
any
tool too.
affiliate with this at all. Nothing at all. I find it wonderful. And it was designed for people with ADHD.
I think
Pretty
it
cool.
sounds like it's beautiful for people because even I don't have ADHD, but given the information age, given like how much we just get inundated with, even like as I'm exploring my own entrepreneurship, there's just so much. I'm certifying in therapeutic coaching, and there's just deeping into that. There's just so much information. So I'm just like, how am I able to even retain some of this stuff? So that tool that you spoke about just helps. Like for me, it's like, oh, there's a sense of organization because yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have ADHD, but I do like time management.
Well, we're in an age where we're constantly being distracted. And
Yes.
people are always surprised sometimes. Oh, the weekend, they're like, I sent you a message. And it's like, I don't pick my phone up on the weekend. Sometimes I do to play games or something like that, but I'm not on social media over the weekend. I put it away. Sometimes I'll be there, they go, where is my pocketbook? Where is my phone? I have no idea where it is. It's like up in my room and I haven't touched it since the morning. And I wish I had what the actual information was, but I know they say if you put your phone down for like even 24 hours, 48 hours, your brain starts shifting again, like going back to normal, whatever normal is. But it's supposed to, like, it's not looking for that dopamine rush constantly.
Yeah, I call it analog mode. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, and it's just like it's so healthy for us to just get rid of those phones. And I know here I am in online business and telling people put your phones down. But, you have to step away from that, or we're constantly running out. Now, I did do one thing that was not great for my ADHD, but it's good for my anxiety because I do also suffer with anxiety and a panic disorder, which can, anytime you can get a panic disorder. But nature really calms me down. We live in a very wooded area, but I have to get up from my desk, go out to the backyard to see all the birds, the squirrels, the chipmunks, everything else that's coming around. So I said, I'm going to put bird feeder. I have a window right here. I'm going to put a bird feeder out here and some squirrel feeders and what the deer's like. And so I'm sitting there, oh, there's a squirrel. Oh, there's a bird. But I can get back to work quickly with that because they're always there, but it's a calming sense for me. So it's like, okay, so let's weigh this out. I need things to keep me in line, but I also need the calmness of bringing nature into my room. So it's figuring out, what do I need personally to get through this day in the most joyful way I can be, and with joy and strength to get through this day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I do want to take a shift back again. You mentioned about coming from a family of entrepreneurship. So it was it's in your blood. And then you talked about start having several franchises. And I've actually looked into franchises. So for me, and me knowing you, my thought was like, you grew up hearing this information, so it's in the back of your brain of having started a business. I did not. So I'm constantly like scrambling, trying to figure things out. And a little side note, it's amazing how much I actually learned after talking to Lena and me throwing her like, she's like, what's that? And I'm like, doesn't everyone know that? So I know I'm slowly learning, but I feel like there's a lot more I need to learn. And then like with the franchise, like where do you even begin? That's kind of different than starting to me, it's different than starting your own business. But I also know you have a business coach. So that even though you have all this knowledge, knowing that having that help as a business coach instead of just being narrow-minded and be like, oh, I already know everything. So what led you to still working with a business coach? I guess is my question.
Well, I guess number one, I'm of the mind that we don't know everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't know what we don't know. And the online space is constantly changing. What worked a year ago doesn't work now. Like I know coaching, right? I know I'm very 40 years of coaching women. I know coaching. I know business, right? When I came into this, I knew brick and mortar. I didn't know anything about online business or how to build that. Very confident. Matter of fact, I even helped a number of businesses locally get started to get them, going. And that was really exciting, but I don't want to be a business coach. It was just helping friends. But I think having the coach it's a security blanket for
Hmm.
one. And it's also just, again, getting more knowledge where you can just get it all in one place without me having to go search through the internet, like what should I believe, what don't I believe? Find a
Mhm.
reputable business coach that you can ask questions that is going to help you, and not just give you, not just some big group coaching where they're just going to say, okay, everybody do this, everybody do that, because that doesn't work. Because what works for one person does not work for the other. That's one of the reasons I got out of the franchises. Everybody had to advertise the same. Everybody did the same exact thing. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because what's working for somebody who has a franchise in Colorado is not going to work for me in Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Different people, different messages. It's like there needs to be some nuance in there, right? So with that respect, how do you do that with a coach? It's finding a coach in my eyes. And I've been through a few different coaches since you were here, Renee. I actually went from one coach, which was much more group. I went to another one who's more business consultant, who was very one-on-one. Who, I learned some great things from him. I also learned I know a lot more than I thought I did. So that's what I got from that one, and then go on my own for a while. And it's like, there's a few other things I need to learn. I need to learn a little bit more about the back end structure, because it's growing and I'm not sure how to handle all of this. So I'm going to bring another coach in for a little while. So I think it's really important to have that to learn from. And you can even think of a franchise as like having a coach, because they will show you everything. And the way franchises run, so that everything does run smoothly from location to location. I mean, there's systems and processes. That's a wonderful introduction into systems and processes. I did learn a lot, even though I was ready to break away. I I needed that to get started.
Hmm.
Right. But as I'm always making shifts in my business. It's like, okay, now I need to learn this. So I'm going to go someplace to help. Somebody's going to help me, because I'm not wasting my time doing rabbit holes, going into the internet and trying to find the right answers and wondering, oh, is this the right thing? Well, this article said this. I don't want to do that. I want to go to the source and get the help from somebody who's done what I've done or want to do.
Yeah. And I think that's great because it's also sometimes we get in our own head and we feel like, okay, this is the right way, and then stop learning or stop looking at other things and then wondering why it's not working. And so I love the fact that you like as successful as you are because I've watched you and that was one of the reasons I came on to work with you because I'm like I knew I was going to learn a lot from you and working with a woman who's got her own business. I just first of all, I love that fact, right? So it was that aspect. And I've actually had a business coach in the past that wasn't really a business coach, turned out to be more of a life coach. And so I've already gotten bitten hard by it. And so I'm a little hesitant to find another coach, but I know watching you, it's good to have that business coach, someone to like pull you into a different direction or just give you, hey, what about this? Or look at this. This has been known to work, you know?
Right, exactly. And somebody to say, well, like I had some things I'm working on now. Like I said, I'm trying to build a community at the same time keeping my my personalized coaching going, the way you were a part of, Renee, like making sure that they're both going. How do I balance the two? And
Hmm.
I just went with another coach now, and it was great to have somebody come in and immediately see things that we're not seeing because we're too close.
Mhm.
Hmm.
He's like,
Mhm.
so he went through, it was extensive, the information I had to fill out for him, but it was worth it because he came into it. I had my first meeting. He's like, I can see exactly what's wrong here. Like, this is your bottleneck. And showing me that, like, oh, something nobody has ever told me before. And he made shifts that made these changes within like a week or 2 weeks. And I was like, why didn't anybody ever tell me that part before? Why didn't anybody see that? You're
Sounds
going to
like a
get something
business
different.
therapist. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get something different from each coach. You know,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you just have to make sure, and like you said, you get burned by people too, and you think you're going to get one thing and then you don't get anything, and it's like, so really, whoever you go to, research them and look for real reviews, um, not just ones on their website.
Yeah.
You just have to find out, like go to Google reviews, or I don't even know, does people use Yelp reviews anymore? I don't think I've ever looked at Yelp reviews, but I don't know if business coaches are on there, but just, hunt around, ask them for references. Of course, they're going to give you their best clients, but if they have best clients to give you, that's a good sign.
Do they do like you just like a meet and greet, like you meet them so you can kind of get a sense of what they do offer before you commit?
Oh, yes,
to,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, matter of fact, the last coach, I go a lot by my intuition, and I
Hmm.
always get a feeling right in my solar plexus
Right.
of a yes or a no, and I was getting this really strong, Lisa, you need to do this, just get into this, and I was all ready to say yes, and I did say yes, and yeah, this sounds like it's going to be great. I do want to sign up with you. And I think I was going to get back to him over the weekend. I said I always let things sit for a little bit, so I'll get back to you over the weekend. And then I messaged, I go, I realized I never even asked you exactly what I get for what I'm paying you. Can you give me a rundown? Because I'm not sure. And he's like, yep, sure. He's like, take your time. He's like, and that's another thing to look for. If you have a coach that's just like, no, you got to sign up right now. Think about it. Like, why are they
Hmm.
telling you to sign up now? Why don't they want you to think a little bit? Which I understand. One part of me understands it because when we think of it, we take the emotion out, and we always will justify what we did, whether we said yes or no. So a lot of times when we don't go ahead and say, I'm going to do this, right?
Hmm.
We walk away thinking, well, I didn't do it yet, but you know what? That was probably a good idea. Is I don't really have the money right now, and I probably can still do this on my own. And a lot of times you end up a year down the road in the same place or worse, saying, God, why didn't I sign up for that?
Hmm.
So there's a balance there of thinking about it and saying, listen to that gut and make the move, go for it.
Yeah. And I think like you mentioned one thing, what works for you may not work for me, and finding a coach like the group, not so much. And that just brought up the question that we always said when I was working with you, when especially with health and wellness, there is no, like the answer should always be it depends, right? Like what kind
Yeah,
of exercise do I need to do for this? Well, it depends, right? Because not everyone is the same. Everyone responds differently. Every business is going to respond differently as well. So you'll want to look for that coach that is going to not be like, okay, it's here's the protocol. This is exactly what you do. And I have my clients do this all the time. So, and I've seen coaches like that where on social media and there's no give to it. And it
right,
should,
right.
yeah.
It's the
And
same with weight loss, right, Renee?
hmm
When
yeah.
people would come in and say, or you see people, this can drive me a little bit crazy. I don't like when I see somebody, if you want to call them influencer or whatever, or they're on Instagram, they're like, I lost 50 pounds. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. It'll work for you too. You can't
Hmm.
say that. You don't know. You just don't know. Somebody's body is going to respond and they will have results, and somebody else is going to be like, that did nothing for me, because they don't know the metabolism. It's like you need to figure out where somebody's at metabolically before you can tell them what they need. And just as like you said, Vinay, those blanket things like this is the way you do it. It's like, well, not necessarily.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
hate
it's
the ones
never
that are
one
like,
size fits all. Yeah.
yeah. And I hate the ones that are like, do these three exercises to get in shape. I'm like, no. I'm like,
Pulling the hair out. Yeah, I know.
Well, it also seems like out there in the, it's like this another new thing. Like it now has to look like this, almost like a fad. It's like now this other thing now. So you just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? So, and then when you add that change of life in there, no one really
well,
knows
things
what to
just
do with
change.
that.
I do.
Yes. So, so
There's
please
all, you know,
grace us
when
with
you
your knowledge because it's
and
like,
it's funny because when people hit menopause and they're like, oh, I'm in menopause, forget it, I can't lose weight, it's too hard, it's that, you know, all the things come up. And I get it. I've been through menopause. I'm 65. I get it. But what people neglect to look at is what they've been doing for the past 2 to 3 decades. And that's usually why they're having such a hard time in menopause, because not everybody has a hard time in menopause. Does it get harder? Yes, your hormones are different. We have to approach it differently, but it doesn't mean it necessarily has to be hard. But if somebody has been restricting calories for years and years and years, or going on and off diet, doing those yo-yo dieting, their metabolism is more than likely in adaptation. So they need to come out of that. So it's like you can't jump into my program and go right into weight loss. We need to restore your metabolism first.
mm,
Then we can get you into fat loss, because that would be much more effective. They don't like to hear that, but that's usually what you have to do.
yeah, and I love that statement is, when I was working with you, so many came in be like, well, this is what I used to do. I'm like, well, you're no longer that age. You're no longer 35 or or 30 or 25. Those same things won't necessarily work for you. So we have to shift out of that and change things. And like I know we saw this all the time, and I saw this even prior, like forever too, is oh, I eat enough protein. You sure? You sure about that? Like, but I've always done is wait, well, your body's different now, so you have to shift things, and then things it just everything starts clicking. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, look at
It
that.
worked. It worked. And it's funny because we want to hold on to, I guess our brains just work that way. They want to hold on to what worked before,
Hmm.
even though it's not working anymore. I think people would rather blame themselves. No, I just need to be more strict. I didn't follow it well enough. That's what the problem is. It's like, no, it isn't. It was too restrictive. That's why you can't follow it. Or you were following it and your body stopped responding because you're now 50.
Hmm.
You are now postmenopausal. It's not going to work that way. Our body uses energy much differently now. So,
So, and I do want to bring up one thing just because I know this, unless it has changed, and I have a feeling it hasn't, you have been really successful at bringing people in through your website. You know, we're in an age where everyone is like, you got to go to social media. Social media is a thing. And you have found that is not working for you. So tell us a little bit about that,
Yeah.
because that is, I think, a lot of, and I like even Lena, when I was telling her about it, she clicked into it because a lot of us don't want to spend a lot of time on social media. We want to be able to
I
spend it in
definitely
other.
don't. I think that's
yeah.
another spiral that I just feel we were talking about distraction. It's just even on Instagram, I just see like I don't feel like I even have time to focus on this because this other thing came up and then this other thing came up. So yes,
Right.
can you
I
please share
think
about
that
that?
there's a balance. There's a balance between the two because you can't just rely on one. And I'll give you
Hmm.
a great example of this. So social media for me would dribble. Things would dribble in. It would do okay. And I would go to coaches and I'd be working with them saying, I can't get social media to work well for me, probably because I don't like it and I had an attitude. So my energy going into it was really open. And so what can I expect with the blocked energy going into something, helping it to work? And every single moment I had it, my website's great. My website's great. So I'm putting, without actually doing something, I'm putting energy
Hmm.
into my website is great. And it just grew and grew and grew. And people find me from all over.
Like me.
Yes, yes, I find people all over the country, all over in other countries, the UK, Africa, Ireland, Canada. Canada you expect, but anyways, they come from everywhere. In France, I'm like, this is really cool. I don't know why it's working this way, but whoever built my website, oh, I know who built my website, um, and he's phenomenal. And then I used to talk to the coaches. I'm trying to back this up a little bit. I talked to the coaches because I was growing and growing and growing. They're like, look, this is working great for you. And I said, no, it's not. I'm growing from my website. I'm not growing from anything you told me to do on social media. And the response I got was, well, it doesn't matter where the money comes from as long as it's coming in. But it's not from what you're telling me to do. So why
Hmm.
am I still paying you? Those years, like, so I'm gonna move on now. And she agreed actually. So yeah, you're right. But then there's a shift. So Google makes shifts, right? There's shifts in the algorithm. The AI comes up and now people are searching AI. So what happens to my website? It's not coming in the way it used to. That's all slowing down. So
Mm.
I need to learn the part that I don't want to learn, which is the social media, to bring them coming in more from there. So
Hmm.
if I had been a little bit more proactive, I wouldn't have gotten into the situation of, uh-oh, what do I need to do here? So I'm actually lagging behind right now to make sure that, oh, okay, I need to build this up, which is the coach I'm with now is doing a great job with helping me with that. And I connected with the person with my website to let's get this back to where it was. And so the whole lesson is be proactive all the time. Even when things are running beautifully, you need to be proactive and say, okay, what can I do to ensure this continues? Not like
Hmm.
that looks great, leave it alone. It's like, no, that looks great. Be aware of what you need to tweak. Don't ignore it. So that's a mistake that I have made. And I think just making sure that I'm focusing on both, even if I don't want to, is hugely important, because you should be able, you wanting things to come in from all over the place, whether it's your website and social media or Pinterest, which, who talks about that anymore, or maybe a YouTube channel or a podcast, getting on podcasts, right? And being, so I think people have to be aware of coming in from all over in order
Okay.
to maintain the level of success.
Yeah. Like that whole thing is multiple streams of income now. Like
Yeah.
before it was like you get that one job and that's what you stick with. And that was the mentality I grew up with. And now it's like, especially COVID taught us that like you've got to kind of have some multiple streams, like drip in here, drip in there, and have your main. But we do that with our business. Don't focus on just one. Or like if like I do a lot of with my therapy side practice, I can't depend. I found I got bit, was it 2 years ago? Because I focused just on one company. And then when they started to dry up some, all of a sudden I had no clients. And so I had to have multiple streams, quote, so to speak,
Right.
of income. And with your business, with marketing, sounds like the same thing. You have to have those multiple streams.
Exactly, exactly. And it takes a hit to our beliefs in who we are. We go back to what we said earlier, and it's like you start connecting your level of worth and
Hmm.
success to how many clients you have, what's in your bank account, how successful is the business. And and this is something I think is hugely important for entrepreneurs, because an entrepreneurial ride is a roller coaster ride. It's going to go up, it's going to come down. Everything that happens, it too will pass. So we
Hmm.
have to remember that we're going to have slow times. We're going to have business that's doing fabulous and then drop for a while for whatever reason. Maybe it is a clearing out that needs to happen. And that's why you're having that, because you're meant to do something else, or you're meant to just find something else, or you're exhausted and you need a break. I really believe this, and the universe sees it and says, give her a break. We're going to dry things up for a little while. But we need to be aware of that and separate our worth with what the business is doing. I think that is hugely important, especially for women. We're very sensitive. We tend to be more empathic. We need to be able to protect ourselves and our identities to keep it to who we are. Because no matter
Hmm.
what's happening out there, we're still us.
That's so important. I'm glad you mentioned that's so important. Um,
Oh, it's a lesson I've had to learn. Yes, it's a lesson I definitely had to learn. Took me a while.
the most valuable lessons we learn is through our own experiences of
Right.
trial and errors, right? It's
Mhm.
not. And I love how you said about the energy, the intention and how and just it all flows together. And with what I'm discovering in this age is where I'm really working on like connecting all parts of me, like the
Mm.
mind, the body, listening to what the body says. Once that, it's kind of like the transformer. It's like once it all clicks, or I do Legos on the side. So once it all clicks together, and then it just yeah, and then there's a flow to it. And
Yeah.
so I really that you said a lot of wise things throughout this whole. I'm like listening
Yeah.
to you. I'm like, oh, it resonates. Um, so we usually ask this at the towards the end. If you could speak to your younger self at the start of this journey, what would you say?
So many things, but I'll try to keep it short. Um, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think asking for help is a sign of courage. A lot of times I can do it myself. I can do it myself. And we're not meant to do things ourselves. We're meant to be here in relationships. And I think asking for help sooner rather than later is hugely important. And trust your intuition. Get connected with your intuition and listen to it. Even when you're asking for help, you still need to have the intuition to go, okay, now how do I apply it to me? Is that information the right information for me? Because if you get the feeling that I'm not so sure about this, and go in the other direction,
Mm.
right? And if you listen to your intuition, like I have done with coaches that have said, no, no, this is a coach I need to go with, and you go with that coach. Or I want to change my business, and you're really feeling strongly about it, that's probably your gut or your intuition telling you that's what you need to do. So I guess those two things is ask for help when you need it, get the help and support, and listen to your gut. Don't just follow, don't blindly follow what everybody else is doing,
Yeah,
not necessarily what you need to do.
nice. All right. I
Nice.
want to take a little shift from that. That was an awesome answer, by the way. But I
Yeah.
want to take a little shift now and let's talk about body and soul coaching and tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about it, about who do you work with? What is it all about?
Body and soul coaching has taken many shifts over the years as it grows. It started out as just like a small 12-week program, and now it's a 16-week program. Now it's a minimum 16-week, and you can continue. And we work with women who are postmenopausal, who have been struggling to lose weight or don't even have that much weight to lose, but they're like, I don't feel like me anymore. I don't move the same. My clothes are uncomfortable. I'm losing my confidence, and they just want to live happily and joyfully in this third. We have a whole third of our life left here, right?
Hmm.
I want to enjoy it. There's so much left. I want to spend time with my grandkids and go hiking, biking, and doing all the things, right? I think the women now that are in the 50s, we're not our grandparents.
Hmm.
We're not even our parents. Because I know my mother slowed down when she got old. Oh yeah, time to retire. And I'm like, retire? Why would somebody want to do that? Like there's so much more left in life to do. So I think it's helping those women to continue that and educate them in what they need. And we do it not by saying, okay, this diet, this workout, and this mindset. Because right, nutrition, fitness, mindset, you hear that everywhere. The first thing we do, it's really about the metabolism. So when somebody's coming in, the first thing we want to do is metabolic restoration. Where are you at metabolically? Can you even go into a deficit right now? Because if you're not ready, we're not going to give you a deficit. We're going to put you into a reverse diet and get that metabolism where it needs to go before we're even going to think about fat loss optimization. And I think that's what makes us very different. And
Hmm.
when we go into fat loss optimization, we're not doing a huge deficit. Excuse me, when we're putting somebody into a stressful deficit, we're having them walk on the edge of dieting. So we're
Hmm.
small deficit. This doesn't stress the metabolism as much, and you're able to stay there for a little bit longer, and then guiding them to when they need to come out of it, even if they're not at their goal yet. It's like, no, you need to come out, you need to reverse for a little bit. We've got to get that metabolism going again. It's teaching people how to toggle through the different phases of nutrition, because there's more than just weight loss and maintenance, right? There's reduce, which is fat loss. There's reverse, which is bringing those calories back up to maintenance. There's remain, which is maintenance. And there's rebuild, taking time each year to focus on building muscle, which is the scariest part for most women, because they don't want
Hmm.
to go into a calorie surplus. They're like, no, I'll gain weight. But they don't realize that's where the real true transformation happens. So when you're 90, you still got that muscle on you. You're still feeling strong, and you're not eating 800 calories because all you've done is reduce and remain for so long. So that's what we're doing. We're balancing it all out, bringing it all together in a way that will work with their metabolism to make it even stronger, more flexible, and educating so that they know how to be their own metabolic detective when they're not even with us.
And I really love that the education aspect of it,
Hmm.
because we brought them in. It's explained the why behind what we're doing and how we're shifting and why are we shifting. And my biggest thing was pulling them away from the scale, because women we are like so strongly attached to the number on the scale. And as they're learning and we start showing them other things, then they start breaking away because they're learning that's not everything, because they want to weigh a specific, but then the scale stops moving, but their measurements keep moving and they feel amazing. And then they start to realize it's no longer about the number on the scale. Yeah, it helps us having multiple data points,
Right.
kind of using that. But you can stop losing weight, so to speak, and keep losing fat at the same time and
You
feel
lose
more
fat and gain
energetic.
muscle and stay the same on the scale.
Yes.
Right.
And it's also, I saw this, and I know you had several clients you worked with that we would reverse diet them, start increasing their calories, and they kept losing body fat. They kept losing weight because,
Mhm.
and we were increasing their calories, which was blowing, I know it blew people's minds.
Right. I had one client, I don't know if you remember her, Stacy, where she came in at about 1,000 calories a day. And over the course of 16 weeks, we gradually, I think we started her there first so she wouldn't freak out, because everybody freaks out when we first start out. It's like, we're first going to balance your macronutrients, right?
Hmm.
So we do that, and then we gradually start adding that in. And then the workouts are also progressive. So they start out a little bit lighter, and then they get a little bit heavier, meaning heavier weight, not length and time, because we never do long workouts. They're always short. And
Mm.
over the course of time, by the end time she left, she was at 1,800 calories a day, 25 pounds lighter, and 26 inches smaller.
Wow.
So it's just, as
Wow.
her metabolism was like, okay, metabolism feels safe. It's like, oh, I can burn this extra body fat. I don't have to hold on to it because you're feeding me, right? And I can build muscle because you're feeding me. You're not
Hmm.
stressing me out. I have the extra energy to build muscle as well. And bone. People forget about that. Our bone density. If you're
Yeah.
losing and losing, you're losing your which are the ones that build. I always get them osteoplasts and the other one, but
I mean, we're so prone to get osteoporosis, especially with
yeah,
women. And
yeah,
that's what I'm interested in is like the strength, like to keep up being feeling strong. Like I could still go for a hike. I can still do this. I can still
exactly.
do that. The quality of life, like aging doesn't, I think the aging piece that scares me is the loss of the quality of life. Like I just don't ever want to be that person. I know people in my
People.
life that just follow, their bodies are falling apart. And I'm like, what can I do? So yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't have to happen. I don't know if you remember the client we had, Renee, Ruth. She was from the UK, and she's had a weight issue her entire life. And she was going in a few months, 5 or 6 months, she was going to be going on a travel, a vacation with her friends, and there was going to be a lot of hiking. And her greatest concern was, I'm going to be the one everybody's waiting for. She never did strength training before in her life. It was always the light weights, heavy repetitions, maybe some little cardio moves, very took it easy, but the dieting, the dieting, the dieting. And so she came into metabolic design. We did our assessment, we did our thing with her. And she ended up the lightest weight she had ever been in her adult years. So this is no, she said, this is the lightest I've ever been since I was a teenager. And when she went on her hike, she had all the energy to do those hikes. Nothing bothered her. Her knees didn't bother her, back didn't bother. She had an awesome time. So it's never too late to start making those shifts, making those
Hmm.
changes. And so I just encourage everybody, it doesn't matter where you are, just start, get going, because you don't want to lose those years.
And
yeah, we're
it's
living
also,
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And your workouts were also good because I know quite a few, like Lena doesn't want to go to the gym, right? But you also had your workouts wasn't necessarily gym based. So quite a few of them were, but starting off wasn't. And it was showing women that you can still do strength training at home. You don't have to go to the gym, be a gym rat to start building some muscle mass and start like working on your core and all those good things. And so that was also teaching them that there's more to it and showing, hey, okay, you can't do a push up off the ground, but hey, you can do it off the counter instead. And taking that all or nothing mentality out of health and wellness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, if they want to go to the gym, we would always edit. And so they could go to a gym, but yeah, you don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. And you just reminded me, said, I don't want to go to the gym. That's not my scene anymore. I'm not 25 years old. You can find gyms where you'll find your people
Hmm.
if you're interested in doing that.
Yeah, I think because I've just shifted, I want to be out in nature. I want to be
Oh, okay.
able to
Great.
hike that mountain. Like I'm not like anti fitness. I'm all about that. It's
Yeah.
just gyms are never my scene. And I know previous coaches I've had, it's that they're always trying to push for this gym thing. And I'm like, that's not my jam. Like, can we do like, body core strength, like, do stuff like that, like yoga. The gym for me now, the closest thing is like going to a yoga area. Even that I'm kind of particular picky because I just want the ambiance to be, I guess, yeah,
Yeah. You just
yeah,
over.
I just don't want to be in a space where I'm going to just constantly be self-critical of myself. I guess
Yeah. Oh,
that's what
that's not
my,
fun.
yeah.
That's not fun. You have
Yeah,
to get
so
over
right.
yeah.
So is it the aura, the energy? Are we all here, showing up to be supportive to one? I'm kind of like in that zone, but the nature is like, because I like running. Like I just, and it's road running. Like it's like just, not in the gym running on
On
a
the treadmill,
treadmill.
right?
So that's the kind of um yeah, where I'm at now is like
And that's
going, I think
great.
because the military thing, because it was gym, 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 gym. And I'm just like
Yeah.
anti.
People
Nothing
get
wrong with
strength
gyms,
training.
guys. Nothing wrong with
There's nothing
gyms.
wrong with
All I'm
gyms,
gonna say.
and you do need
It's just,
strength training though. I'm gonna tell any
yes.
woman in menopause, postmenopause, you need strength training has to be your anchor. Strength training has to be the foundation, and the other things are addition. Yoga does not put muscle on you the way strength training does. None of those things do. That's more, and even hiking and biking and running actually can take muscle away if you're doing long distance. So doing things like HIIT training outside or grabbing a TRX and throwing it up around a tree and doing your strength training that way will put muscle on you. Just make sure like
Yeah, or
any.
I just, yeah. And you're absolutely right because I did work with somebody who, and I felt like that person really listened because I knew a lot of runners are weak in the muscle
Yeah,
areas because it's just the same thing that we're doing, but we don't balance it out with strength training. So then we don't get the injuries that or, worn out certain parts of your body. And when that person listened, he incorporated these really simple that because we did build our own gym in our house. We had a house, and so I just got the simple equipment with bands and stuff, and he taught me how to even like strengthening my elbows, which I never even
yeah,
thought to do. And absolutely, it really does go hand in hand. Like you can't
yeah.
just do cardio and not do
No,
strength training.
no, that's like you can't do the women in
No,
med. No, it won't work.
we have
We even have
muscles
some that
like,
we take
yeah.
it away. We even have clients that we take all cardio away because they're under so much stress. Adding cardio is going to add even more stress. It's not going to help their metabolism. So it's like that's why it's personalized. I used to call it group coaching. I now call it personalized coaching because every single client gets a dedicated coach to follow them throughout the whole program. So if their coach is looking at, they fill out a check-in form every single week. And if the coach is seeing that you're not sleeping, you've got a lot of stress at work, it's like, no cardio. We're not going to do that right now. Let's make sure you've got rest days, make sure you're stretching, yoga, and a couple of strength trainings, so I mean, I'm just throwing something out there. It's going to be different for everybody, but
Hmm.
you really have to be aware of what's going on in your life as well to know what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's a balance of everything. It's like all
Isn't it?
these different pillars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'd
yeah,
like
because
the,
after that, I'll just share after that real quick. I ran the best half marathon at my age than I
Wow.
did like when I was in my 20s because of the strength training that was incorporated with the running. Like I was consistent. I didn't die at the end. I didn't like so
Awesome.
it really really does. It really is important. I agree, Lisa. Thank you.
and the thing I like about also, it's individualized group training, which almost seems like an oxymoron, right? So,
Right.
because you have the coach that follows you, but the group aspect of it is what I really like too, because you had sessions like every week, group sessions every single week, where one week would be just all Q&A, and the next week would be educational. So it was more than just educational on like how to lose body fat. It was also the mindset as well. So
Oh,
that's brought
right.
in that education, but it brought in, especially for those who do work well with having that support system of hearing what the other ladies have gone through and knowing they're not the only ones. I think that was a huge piece of your program too, is just that support system they all were getting.
Oh, definitely. And we even added like a private Facebook group so they could talk even more, and which has
Hmm.
grown a lot more. It makes such a big difference when you have other women going through the journey. It's like, oh, they're going through the same thing I am. I'm not alone in this. Instead of just having a coach tell you that, oh no, this is normal. It's like, no, I want proof. Where are the other people that are going through this? They're right here in your group. Sorry about that. Yeah, it makes a
Nice.
difference.
Nice. All right. So how does, and I know we're following you on Instagram. So you guys, anyone listening, if you're following us on Instagram, you can find her on Instagram because we're already following Lisa. But how else, like how do people find you?
Yeah, Instagram at Lisa Swanson Fit, and my website,
Hmm.
bodyandsoulcoaching.com, all spelled out, no ampersand.
Nice. And we will definitely have this in the show notes so you guys can track her. Um,
Yeah.
I think one last question. If someone is starting out wanting to change get healthier, either lose weight, just get healthier, more energy, what are some baby steps they can start with?
Hmm. There's so many different things. I mean, I like to start people slowly so that you
Hmm.
can actually create sustainable habits. If you try to do everything all at once, it can become overwhelming, and then you drop it after a few weeks saying, I can't do this. And you can do it. But
Hmm.
starting out slowly really makes a difference. Like that new membership I have, it's called Fit After 50. And in that, we have a success path for anybody coming in. So like I said, it's not coaching. It's not the full-on coaching that you get with metabolic design, but with Fit After 50, I am in there every day answering questions and helping support people. And I can do like a monthly Q&A for them. But we have a success path all laid out. And instead of log all of your food, it's track your protein and your fiber. I think those are the two things that you should start out tracking right away. When you
Hmm.
track your protein and your fiber, because those are the most important nutrients, right? The protein is going to tell you that you've got enough coming in to build muscle. The fiber is going to let you know you've got the right kind of carbs coming in if you're meeting that goal. That the water, and that's the nutrition part. I would start slowly there. For workouts, just get your body moving first. Don't try to we just talked a lot about strength training. Don't hop into strength training trying to lift as heavy as you can, because your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons are not ready for it. Get your body moving, start walking, do some body weight workouts, use lighter weights. I mean, I can't get into what specific your workout should be,
Yeah.
but just take it careful and make sure you know that your body is ready for it. I was sick last year for a few different times, and I lost some muscle, and I was trying to like, oh, I got to get back to my workouts and trying to do what I did before, and it hurt my knees, it hurt my back. I was like, oh, this is terrible, right? So I did, swallow my pride a little bit and take all my weights back lighter for a good 2 months. Just I had been sick for a long time, so it took a while, and just really focusing on full range of motion and making sure everything felt good before I added more weight on. So just be careful, and definitely journal that journey. And Renee, I know you're big on that one. Put your thoughts down. She told every single client that came in, do you have a journal? If you don't, go get a journal. It matters, your thoughts. You want to see how you are feeling throughout this journey that you're on. And it makes a difference. You can just see your thoughts, how things are changing, the shifts that you're making.
Yeah, and a lot of it is it's also you're talking to your future self that you're making positive changes and you may not see it in the moment, especially if that scale starts to plateau. And then I know we get into our own heads and it's like nothing's changing, nothing's working. I'm like, okay, go back to your journal, look at the changes you've been making. And it's just
Yeah,
take a deep breath and baby steps and it's going to work. Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
absolutely. Document everything.
All right. Well, great. Thank you again so much for coming on. And it's been great to see you again. I know it's been a minute since we've spoken to or seen each other on video.
Yeah,
I know we've spoken since, but it's been awesome. I know both Lena and I, we so appreciate you coming on. And I love the
Yeah.
fact you came back on our podcast since you were on mine before. So it's kind of like bringing it back around.
there we go, full circle.
Well,
Well,
so
I really enjoyed the talk because I know you and I think a lot. And Lena, it was a pleasure to meet you, and we apparently think of similarly too. So it was great to be here. Always happy to come in and help a new podcast starting out, just being a guest. And yeah, you guys are going to do great. This is a wonderful, wonderful topic.
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure to spend this hour with you. Yeah.
It was.
Even this, I just learned so much already. So
Oh, good. I love when people learn.
yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, just please check Lisa out. And for all of the any women entrepreneurs listening to us and you would like to come onto our podcast, please do so. And just find us at Athena's Listening Crew on Instagram or on YouTube. And you can always email us at athenaslisteningcrew@gmail.com. And our
Oh, and
information will be out there.
yeah,
What's
and
that?
we're on LinkedIn too now.
Oh, yes. So any social media or any podcast, you'll be able to find us.
So
All right. Thank you for listening.
thank you.
Thank you.